Hello and welcome to Gardening at 58 North. In this video I'm going to be starting a new vegetable plot here. So this is my friend's garden. As you can see, this border's kind of been left for a while, nothing's really been going on. There's a New Zealand flax in the corner here, but it's kind of like suffering and dying. I think it's probably a bit too close to this conifer. And so that's going to be coming out. All the grass and dandelions and weeds and that will also come out. Now I'd like to take out this this conifer here at some point, but it's a little bit large, so I'm just going to have to wait until I can find somewhere to put all the waste from that. But for now, I'm just going to start clearing the bed, taking off a lot of the material. What I did do last summer is I dumped a lot of grass clippings on here because I knew I'd probably do something with this in spring. But because it's been so dry recently, the grass clippings are just, they haven't rotted down and they've stayed very dry. Normally what would have happened is they would have sat there over winter. As soon as spring comes, when it warms up, the grass clippings would normally rot away into the soil. But just because it's been so dry recently, the grass clippings aren't quite rotting. Some of the very deep down stuff is looking a bit better. So I'll just get started now, clear the site, get it ready for planting. So that's the site now cleared and all dug over. As you can see, the soil isn't too bad. It's a real mixture, but it's generally quite good soil. It's kind of like a sandy loam soil, very loose, quite dark and rich. But I'll still be adding quite a lot of compost to this just to increase the fertility of the soil, make sure I can grow the plants better. So I'll also be adding some slow release bloodfish and bone fertilizer. That will just feed the plants as they're coming along. I'm actually going to add a little bit of sulfate of ammonium. The reason for that is I'm going to be growing rocket. Rocket likes high nitrogen, so it's going to be producing lots of leaves, so I'm going to have a high nitrogen for that. And I'm also going to be planting some courgettes as well. Courgettes would hopefully do well here. This gets quite a lot of sunshine. The right hand side is a bit shadier, and as you can see it's a lot drier as well. I think that's just because the conifer roots are in that area, so that's going to be quite a poor area for growing plants. So I probably won't plant much in that corner. I'll certainly put 2 courgette plants in. The idea is to have some rocket along the front, courgette in the middle, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks I'll put some runner beans towards the back of the bed, and that'll be the bed mostly filled for the summer. So I'll go ahead now and I'm going to put in 3 large bags of compost. It's about 150 litres of compost, really enrich the soil. Now luckily the soil is quite damp still. We haven't had rain for a few weeks, and we're not going to have rain for another couple of weeks here in Scotland, which is actually very uncommon. Normally it's quite wet here in Scotland, but at the moment we're having a particularly dry spell. As you can see, we've got some fantastic sunny weather, which, as I say, is quite a rarity here in Scotland. So the soil is quite damp. I think that's partly because of all the mulch I had put on top, all the dead grass. So what I will be doing is I'll be mulching this again with dead grass just to try and keep it a bit moisture, because it's going to be so dry at the moment, and there's no way that this can be watered. I'm not going to be here very often, and the owner doesn't have any watering cans or anything like that, so it's going to be quite dry. So I'll give it, I have brought some water with me, so I'll give it a good soak when I put the plants in, and then hopefully the mulch will keep as much moisture in as possible to let the plants get their roots down and find some damper soil deeper down. So that's the bed now dug over with the compost and the slow organic fertilizer, and that's also the plants put in. So I've got a nice row of rocket along the front there. I think there's 12 plants in total, and then I've got the 2 courgettes further back. I have mulched the whole lot. I've got a bit of mulch in the leaf there by accident, but I've mulched it all. Around the plants I've put on some old mulch from last year. It's quite dry, kind of half rotted and then dried out, so it shouldn't be too bad. It shouldn't hopefully scorch the plants. There was some fresh mulch which I put on the back. That mulch is only about 2 weeks old. That's just to keep the rest of the bed nice and moist. So I watered the plants in, planted them up. I'll give you guys an update hopefully in about a month's time. Now with this really dry weather we've got coming along, I am a bit worried that these might get burnt to a crisp. So the rocket will probably go to seed, and the courgettes probably won't grow a huge amount, to be honest, because it's going to be a bit dry for them until they get their roots deep, until we get some decent rainfall. I'm not expecting a huge amount of growth from them. They'll have plenty of sunshine though, so if the roots manage to follow the water down that I did put in today, there is a chance that these could put on some really good growth. And there's plenty of feed as well in the soil, so they should grow well if they can get the moisture. And with the mulch being on it, it will certainly help with any water loss, and also stop any weeds coming up, because that's another thing. Because I'm not going to be here very often, I can't weed this, so the grass will keep it nice and mulched, stop any weeds, and that will hopefully make life a lot easier.
So I had originally intended to do this as kind of like a diary, and I was going to do regular updates every week, but I was a bit too busy with work, so I wasn't able to do that. So now I've left you with a series of photos. I did have time to take photos, fortunately, so you can pause this at any point and have a look at the photos if they're going past too fast or whatever. What I will say though is it was very dry for the first few months of the summer, and very hot. so that kind of set back some of the plants. But you'll notice in the later photos there was some rain in August, and plants started doing much better then. I'm hoping to do this again next year, so 2019, which is this year. Hopefully this time I'll have more spare time and I can do a more in-depth video. But anyway, this is basically a quick summary of what happened with my vegetable plot in the first year of trying it out here in my friend's garden in 2018.